Coming up in the news, the Minister for Grand Bahama releasing a statement on the power company's request for a rate adjustment. And a local MP vying for the leadership post within the Free National Movement. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Shoshana Wolf-Arkeson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, the Minister for Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, says that the government will not support an increase in electricity rates on Grand Bahama. This coming after the power company issued a statement announcing that they have applied to the regulator, the Grand Bahama Port Authority, for a rate adjustment. The Minister of Grand Bahama says it is the government's view that Grand Bahama can not sustain a price hike, and a special committee has been formed to address the matter. Jamila Mizik has more in this report.
The Ministry of Grand Bahama responding to the Grand Bahama Power Company's recent application to the Grand Bahama Port Authority for a rate adjustment. Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, in a statement, noting that in response, the government has made immediate inquiries, expressed deep concern, and taken swift action. Moxie contends that the government has the statutory mandate to set the national energy policy, with the goal and objective of which shall be the creation of a regime for the supply of safe, least cost, reliable, and environmentally sustainable electricity throughout the Bahamas. This statutory mandate includes aspects of social policy, including the scope of universal services and the protection of vulnerable customers, adding that the devastating effects of Hurricane Dorian and the COVID-19 pandemic on residents of Grand Bahama is a matter of deep concern to the government. The government has since constituted a cabinet committee comprising Attorney General Ryan Pinder, Ministers Obi Wilchcombe, Alfred Sayers, Dr. Michael Darville, and Ginger Moxie to review and address the matter and to ensure that the rights and interests of the residents of Grand Bahama are protected, consistent with the national energy policy. The statement adds that the government has since received further correspondence from GBPA, which explained the process and offered assurance that the application is just that, an application, which is required to be filed every 3 years and is a component of an established regulatory framework agreement between the two entities. Moxie confirming that GBPA has not given any approvals to GBPC to proceed with any adjustments to the power rates for Grand Bahama residents, and will follow the established process, which dictates that before any approvals can be given, the rate plan must be published, and GBPA will hold a public 45-day consultative process so that the voice of every Grand Bahamian resident can be heard, adding that the government will ensure that the objectives of the national energy policy are observed. Moxie says that while they understand that the filing is part of an established process, the government will not support any rate increase or any portion of the customer base on Grand Bahama Island at this time, as it is their firm position that the people of Grand Bahama should not be further burdened on the heels of the economic stagnation caused by Hurricanes Matthew and Dorian, which was compounded by the global pandemic. Now a meeting has been scheduled with GBPA and the Cabinet Committee in the next 2 weeks regarding the application, and Moxie says they will be very clear and direct with their message, adding that the people and businesses of Grand Bahama have suffered enough, and that as a minister for Grand Bahama, she will remain resolute in her commitment to the growth and development of our island and our people. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Jamila. In other news, illegal dumping remains a nagging issue for some residents of Grand Bahama, particularly secluded and less populated areas. Tonight, one resident says that she has had enough, and she's calling for those responsible to quit. Megan Shepard reports.
Frustrated and disgusted, two adjectives that describe the feelings of resident Iris Sweeting as it relates to the constant illegal dumping on her street. Sweeting says she lived in her home since 1999, and for years persons have been illegally dumping household appliances and food containers, which are not only an eyesore but also a potential health hazard.
I am tired of seeing it. And they feel like only one house through the corner, there's no one through here. But I have concern because I live through here, because all is creating rodents, rats, and just name it, and it is through here. It has increased rapidly, especially for the restaurant products. It has been increased, but the tubs, even they cut their yard, the trees, they bring it and dump it through here. It is disgusting. It's annoying. Let us do like the Bible said, cleanliness is next to godliness. And the pandemic, they ask us to be, if we never wash hands before, you're being encouraged to wash your hands regularly and keep your surrounding clean.
Sweeting says she has reported the issue to the relevant authorities.
I made mention to the police, but they pass through here every now and then when they're patrolling, but nothing has been done. So I called just the environmental health last week. They say they have to investigate, and it will take 2 weeks. And my last resort, I turned to the ZNS communication.
Sweeting is now calling for immediate action in the cleanup of her area and an end to the illegal dumping.
Clean, Miss Megan. Clean it. I want it clean. Please, the help or those who brought it through here, you brought it through here, come back and clean it up, carry it to sanitation service. It's a charge, but you don't have any free lunches, so therefore, pay for it. It's your dirt. I would like to see this clean like yesterday. I want it clean instantly, please. Because I drive through this corner. I live through this corner. So people will believe who pass through here that all this mess is coming from my place. It's not so.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
In news from the crime beat, police on Grand Bahama arresting a male for cultivation of marijuana. Yesterday, a team of officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit, acting on information, conducted a search of a house in McLeanstown where a green plastic wrap containing a grassy-like substance suspected to be marijuana was found. Officers also followed a footpath from the residence where they discovered 33 flower pots with suspected marijuana plants ranging from 1 to 2 feet in height. As a result, an adult male was arrested and is assisting with the investigation. Now, the estimated street value is at $33,000. Meantime, over in Abaco, police discovering a quantity of suspected marijuana in Sandy Point. Sometime around 3 p.m. yesterday, a team of officers from the Marsh Harbor Police Station discovered a white crocus sack bag containing 3 brown taped packages suspected to be marijuana at the rear of a residence in Sandy Point. The drugs carry a street value of some $3,000. Police on Moores Island also locating a quantity of suspected marijuana. Police say a team of officers from the Moores Island Police Station conducting a routine search mobile patrol on the beach located at the rear of the Moores Island Airport. While there, officers discovered 1 brown taped package suspected to be marijuana. The estimated value is $5,000. Now, investigations are continuing. Well, after a crushing defeat at the polls, the Free National Movement is now preparing for a one-day convention on November 27th to elect a new leader for the party. Today, a former minister and member of parliament for Central Grand Bahama, Aram Lewis, on the party's 50th anniversary, has announced his plan to offer himself as leader. This will be the first convention the party has held since 2016, and he says his aim is to rebuild and reconnect the party's base.
I am FNM. I've been FNM all my life. I believe in the party. I believe in the principle. I get to know FNM. And where we veered off to, I believe we're a bit off course.
And this is why former Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Aram Lewis, says with prayerful consideration, he has made the decision to bid for the leadership post as the Free National Movement heads into a convention in November. Lewis first entered politics in 2012 as the Member of Parliament for Central Grand Bahama and was one of 7 within the party to retain his seat during the recent general election. He believes his success is his connection to the people and the empowerment of others.
Being a servant leader and believing in the people, getting people to believe in what I did, my initiatives, the initiative that I did with my team, staying on the ground, keeping in touch with individuals.
The F&M suffered a crushing defeat at the polls, and many have called for the current leader and former Prime Minister Hubert Minnis to step down. But Lewis says now that elections are over, he's had an opportunity to take a closer look at what needs to be done to move the F&M forward.
I don't see me as being responsible, sitting in the background and just letting it go over my head and say, well, I'm not the leader, so whatever happens, happen. No, it's time now to step up to the next level and assume the position of leadership to not only get the party back to where it was, but for us to grow the party. And having lost the last election, that would not even be my focus right now. Re-election would not be my focus. Getting the party back together, galvanizing our base, helping them to understand that they are included, they are part of.
There has been wide speculation as to whether or not Minnis will accept a nomination from the floor. But Lewis says even if he does, his intention is to put his name in the hat for the betterment of the party.
Well, to be quite pointed, when we had our first parliamentary caucus meeting, I did listen to the leader, the now leader, who requested that he stay on until convention in November. He asked that he enter parliament as the leader of the opposition. He was mindful of the fact that we were going to take a lot of blows. He was willing to go in and defend his policies and to speak to all that we did without running away. He said there's no reason for him to duck and dodge. He's willing to go into parliament as our leader. So I supported that up to the point of convention. So as far as I'm aware, he's not seeking re-election. As far as I'm aware, his word to me was that support me until November. And at such time, when we have the national convention, I will not seek leadership and I will support whomever is elected as leader of the opposition. So I have no reason to think that he's going to go back on his word.
The Central Grand Bahama MP believes that in an effort to avoid any conflict, only those who were elected in the recent elections should contest the leadership post. Since the party's defeat, there have been two names that have been expressed as who should step forward as leader: Member of Parliament for Marco City, Michael Pintard, or MP for St. Barnabas, Shannon Don Cartwright. So the question is, has Lewis been overlooked?
And because I've not been pushing myself to the forefront, perhaps that may be a reason why. But I am here. I've been in F&M. We're about to celebrate our 50th anniversary. I am now 56 years old. I remember Mr. Maurice Moore coming to Waterkey from when I was a little boy. My father, who was like his best friend, Mr. Moore stayed at our house. So I've been following him around basically all of my life. And I know what it is to be F&M.
And for those who are unfamiliar with Hiram Lewis, he boasts of running an aggressive backyard farming initiative, Grand Bahama Community Park on the Royal Oasis, where local farmers sold their products, the first smart park, rebuilding of the YMTA, among other projects. He says his life has been one of adversity and overcoming challenges.
Things in my life that happened that I believe was even worse than the defeat that we suffered on September 16th. I lost my father, pretty much died in my arms. A few years later, my son was tragically killed in a traffic accident. Shortly after that, my adopted niece, my niece was like an adopted daughter, she died mysteriously. My mother passed away recently. My brother died mysteriously. He was my best friend.
And with 400 people set to vote at the F&M's convention, he says the response has been overwhelming.
The response has been good so far, and initially I've not been pushing myself. Persons who said, at this time we do need someone who can connect, someone who's relatable, someone who's not just pushing for power, just want to be in the podium. They're entering the race for the right reason.
Lewis, running under the banner Lewis for Leadership, is encouraging those who have voting privileges to do so with the future of the party in mind. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.